should have a knife. Alright, so tonight we're going to be talking about the Second Amendment, and I think that everybody should not only have the right, but also have the means. When it comes to weapons, and when it comes to rights in general, I feel like all or nothing is the way to go, okay? Like, if men can vote, women can vote, and if white men and white women can vote, then so can everyone else. And the same should go for this. If we have the right to bear arms, we should all have arms. And I'm not talking about guns, because guns aren't fair. I'll talk about that another day or another night. But knives, they're fine. You have to go up and personal and just go at it. I mean, there are throwing knives, but I'm thinking that the government should give out knives to everyone. And it should be standard knives. This is just the one that I have around, but I'm thinking maybe the small switchblades, you know, the small combat knives, you know, like. But in essence, everybody should have one of these. It should be the government giving them out, and it should all be a normal length, like maybe half of this, just enough so that, yeah, it hurts, but it doesn't get anywhere vital. Unless you, like, aim it really good. Now, you're probably all thinking, well, what do you mean by everybody? But every man and woman, their 18th birthday, the government should be able to give you a knife. Because think of it this way. How many violent crimes do you think would be committed if everyone was packing heat? That's right, all of them. Because all of them would be in self-defense. And if you're attacking someone and they pull out a knife, you're obviously going to recoil back and be like, nah, my bad. And you know what? It might even be a good deterrent, because if you know that everybody over a certain age has a knife, then you are definitely going to not want to do anything. And then, because imagine this, right? You're getting mugged. Like, maybe the guy, he comes from a different country. He's like, hey, you, hand over all your money. And he's got his knife out. And then you pull yours out. You're like, yo, what's good? And then you guys are just he's going to stand there. He's like, oh, shit, never mind, goodbye. I'm thinking all or nothing. And I'm thinking all should be with the knife. Nothing should go to guns. Because for one thing, guns aren't fair unless you have a gun. And we're not going to give everybody a gun. That's not fair. It doesn't matter, because if you have a gun, you're for like 50 feet away, and your aim might be better than someone else's, so you, pew, oh, ah, then you try to shoot back, but you're probably gonna miss because he just shot your arm. So, but at least with the knife, you are forced to go in, and you have to go up there, and you have to slash him with your own hand. But either that. And you're probably thinking, but Goji, that's dangerous. You're giving everyone a deadly weapon. That's not going to work. Good idea. Just because everyone has a deadly weapon doesn't mean that there's going to be less crime. It's going to be a war zone. And I'm saying, yes, but we all need a chance to defend ourselves. Because if I have a busted ass arm, if I have weak arms, and a dude with strong arms comes at me, then what the fuck am I gonna do? Like, what are my options? Like, if there is a guy that's huge, like Arnold Schwarzenegger looking guy, he comes in, like, he's packing, and he's, like, this dude could be a fucking football player looking guy. He comes up to a skinny motherfucker, and the skinny guy doesn't even know how to fight. Yeah. Then, what are his options? Because everybody knows how to use this thing. Everybody knows that it's dangerous. If this athlete guy comes up, he doesn't have a knife, and the skinny guy is just like, yeah, that big dude's dead. So if everybody has one of these, then we could probably create those situations a lot more. But then you're like, but Goji, that's still not a good idea. What if he's wearing armor? Well, f that. And if you're a dick, then you're probably saying, but Goji, what do you mean we can't have guns? It's protected under Second Amendment. No, the Second Amendment is the right to bear arms, not specifically guns. That's why we're allowed to have knives. But, and you're probably thinking, well, why don't we just get rid of weapons entirely? Well, because if you get rid of weapons entirely, if we got rid of the Second Amendment, we'd have to cut everybody's hands off at the wrist. Everybody would have to be stubs. Why? Because if you piss me off, this shit's lethal. Honestly, your entire body is a lethal weapon if used correctly. Like, I could kick someone in the legs, they could fall, and I could just curb stomp them till they stop moving. And that's why we have to have the Second Amendment. Because you can't restrict what someone can do with their own physical body. You can only control what they have in their possession.
In theory.
Knives are, I think, they're the least threatening weapon aside from, like, a hammer. But honestly, if the world was perfect, if everything in this world could go the way I want it to, then then your only weapon of choice would be your words. Because as they say, sticks and stones may hurt my bones, but words will never hurt me. That is some bullshit. People say mean things. We have cyberbullying nowadays, for fuck's sake. We can look away, but we can't. If I had it my way, every battle, every war would be a battle of wits. Can you imagine a war where every soldier runs onto the battlefield and they just start rap battling? Or if whenever you went onto a battlefield, there would just be one representative from each war. Dude goes up and he starts spitting, you know, like he starts spitting, then it's the other dude's turn, he starts spitting in his language, and then one neutral guy in the middle, he decides which one had the best spit, and he's like, he wins, and then boom, the war's over, nobody died, and the army is just training you to be the wittiest mother that you could think of. And could you imagine a robbery if, like, you were just, this man's trying to mug you. At first he insults you. Your hair is whack. Give me your money. And then of course you're supposed to be like, yeah, well at least I had a father. And then like freaking, I like to think that if you get insulted too many times, you explode. And I feel, but I also feel like if everything was perfect too, if everybody was coordinated and everybody would cooperate, there wouldn't be any crime anyway. We wouldn't have a need for weapons. We wouldn't have a need for insults. But that's just the way the human spirit goes. And also because psychopaths would probably be like the most overpowered person in my perfect world. A psychopath would be a leader. Because for one thing, he has no way of hurting himself or anybody other than just being a dick. And that would mean that psychopaths probably would not exist because they would win everything and thus never be created in the first place. And besides, like, oh, that's how people settle shit on the internet. I don't know what's so different about it. Like, if you're good at arguing, you're just gonna argue about the topic at hand. But if you're a dick, then you're gonna go into every argument and just be personal about it. And that's kind of what presidential campaigns do today anyway. And whoever has the least disses against them and can diss the most, he's in office. That's why Donnie's in the office. And that's why he's getting out so quickly, because he's just dissing everybody and he got in somehow. Like, does that not sound like an insult? Yo, we're going to build a wall on the border, then we're going to get you to pay for it. And of course, in context, if that was a rap battle, then it'd be like, ooh! Like, that's just so insulting. Like, that's how he got in, because he was just really good at it. He was like, yo, not only am I going to fuck you over, I'm going to make you give me the resources to fuck you over. That's like telling someone to go to a tree and break off a branch so that you can smack them with it. They do that down south, I think. I just feel like if everything was government maintained and we all had the same size knife, the same kind of knife, then, you know what, we wouldn't have any advantage. The only thing would be that the strong survive and the weak-willed don't. You may be thinking, wow, you may be thinking, wow, Goji, you're a sadist. You want to give everyone a knife so that they can go hurt someone else because they tried to hurt them. No. I'm thinking because the reason why wars are never fought and battles are never won is because you had to resort to a weapon. Now the thing is, why do you think the Cold War was won so peacefully? Because Russia and America both knew that they had shit that could break the entire world. Not only destroying their enemy, but also them. And that is why, just the knowledge that everyone has one of these, that nobody would fight anymore. Because you know that, yeah, I have a knife, and I could take him on hand to hand. But not only do I have a knife, but he has a knife, and we could both end up dying if we both get some good hits in. And therefore, nobody would die. Therefore, there wouldn't be any victims. There wouldn't be any atrocities. There wouldn't be any murders because everybody knows that shit, I can get fucked up, and nobody wants that. And if someone attacks you and you're on your guard, he misses, then you punish him. And that's the way that fighting games work, and that's why everything is even. It's on an even playing field. And you know what? I think that we should treat it like cars. If you don't have a car, then you're kind of fucked over. Because everybody needs a car these days. If you have a government object, everybody has one of these. If everybody has one of these, and you're trained to use it effectively, and you're trained on how to block that shit, then we could be facing some real thing. But then, Goji, but now you're probably thinking, but Goji, what if I'm a pacifist? What if I don't want one of these? You're gonna have to. I'm sorry. But you are at a disadvantage if you don't have one of these. In that alternate universe where everybody has one, you're gonna have to use this. You're not gonna have to use this, but you're gonna have this. Because if it's government sanctioned, if you keep that shit at home, sure, you're doing the whole world a favor by not introducing aggression into the world, but you're also making yourself more susceptible to violent crime. And you know what? Actually, if you're a pacifist, you're still safe because we all know that everybody's been given a knife. So therefore, all you have to do is have a bulge in your pocket that looks like a knife, and then nobody will want to mess with you because A, you don't have a knife, but they think you do. And if...
So at this point, I started rambling on about stuff I don't really believe in, but honestly, I think that every problem could be solved with pacifism. Like Mahatma Gandhi, he stopped oppression in India. Martin Luther King, he stopped segregation to an extent. Actually, no, yeah, he stopped that. So, honestly, this was just a short hypothetical. We don't really need to do this.
I swear to God, I'm not a sadist.
Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. She was looking kinda dumb with her finger and her thumb.